Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook. Get a sign-up bonus of 200% up to $25,000 when joining today. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply.
Vote for IFL in this year's Sports Podcast Awards. Go to www.sportspodcastgroup.com and vote for us in Best Combat Sports Podcast and the Diverse Voices Awards categories. IFL Pod, available across all major streaming platforms now.
Welcome to episode 31 of Talk Smart with
Pugh
and McCart. I'm Andrew McCart. That is young Joe Pugh over there. Joe, first and foremost, how are you this fine Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, just about afternoon. I think same as you, a little bit tired, a bit worse for wear on this Sunday afternoon. We both stayed up and a bit of a late one. Yeah,
definitely. Well, obviously, I was out with my wife last night with a nice dinner and then ended up staying, for some reason, I ended up staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning, which isn't me, Joe. It's not me, but you stayed up for the John Ryder Jaime Munguia fight. I've literally watched the highlights this morning on YouTube, and I tell you what, man, what a fight. I want to do, we'll touch on Jaime Munguia, but I just want to give credit to John Ryder, and basically like a thanks to John Ryder, man. That guy is an absolute warrior. He's done everything in boxing, fought the best. Sometimes he might not have got the decisions his way, but he's just kept at it. Probably one of the nicest guys you've ever met. I'm sure you've met John. He's a lovely guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, just talk to me about John Ryder and what he's done for this sport.
Yeah, great guy. His resume is absolutely fantastic. Winning or losing, he always comes and brings it. And okay, he didn't win a world title, but I think he done what some former world champions would have preferred in later life, because he certainly kind of made his bank account a world champion over the past few fights. I know you want the belt up on the mantelpiece, but at least he's got a very, very big mantelpiece instead, mate, because he's definitely reaped the rewards. And yeah, wish him all the best, because great servant with a great resume.
Definitely, and being at 35 years old and the career he's had, and I think that Eddie Hearn touched on it, saying that maybe this is time to call it, hang up the gloves for John. But yeah, but we can't not talk about Jaime Munguia, though. I mean, what an absolute monster he is. And when you look at that super middleweight division, there's 3 Mexicans at the top: Canelo, Benavidez, and Munguia. Now, we'll touch on that sort of situation right now at the top of the tree. But obviously, what he did to John Ryder was perfect almost in terms of picking his shots. Never rushed, and every shot was crisp. Fair play to John. He showed heart of a lion to get up and to continue to press the fight and wanting to fight. But I just think Jaime Munguia, his shot selection and the way he throws his punches, he doesn't rush. And you look at like that sort of style, man, it's a fan-friendly style, because you're almost guaranteed a flush knockdown. You know what I mean? A nasty-looking knockdown from Munguia. And it was just an absolutely outstanding performance.
Yeah, it certainly was. I think it was a terrible nightmare start for John Ryder, and it kind of put him on the back foot. And he was taking risks where he probably didn't need to take if he hadn't been knocked down twice in the first 4 rounds. So it was an uphill battle, but boy, did he lay it on the line. He left everything in there. He would have carried on. He would have got up and carried on fighting it through to that next round. But yeah, he was saved. Great team pulled him out. And again, does he retire? Maybe as a little homecoming, just a little final hurrah in London, maybe. But yeah, I think the last time he fought in London was against Danny Jacobs, and that was at Ali Pali in, I think, might be 2022. It could be. So yeah, I think whatever he decides is right for him. But yeah, John Ryder's definitely given us some great fights over the years.
Definitely, and like I say, he's had 39 fights, going out on a win. Same way like Anthony Crawler. Do you remember Anthony Crawler had that farewell sort of fight in Manchester and got back in the win column, ended his career on a win? John's sitting on 39 fights. Let's get him to 40. Homecoming in London. Obviously a good fight. I don't want to give him just a pick and fight, but get back, finish your career on a win and a nice round number 4-0 in London. I think that will be absolutely sweet for John Ryder. But Jaime Munguia, again, I just want to touch on the knockdowns and stuff like that as well. And like I said to you, Joe, when you look at the top of the tree in the super middleweight division, there's only 3 men up there. they're all Mexican. Do you know what I mean? And Canelo has said that he doesn't want to have that Mexican rivalry, and I can't see why. I can't see why he doesn't want to fight Benavidez. I think he said, I can't remember the quote or what he said, so don't quote me on this. It was something along the line that he doesn't want to fight a Mexican because it's not good for Mexico. Or something along them lines. Do you remember the quote he said? He said he doesn't want to fight a fellow Mexican because it's not good for Mexico in terms of having two Mexicans fight each other or something along them lines. Again, I'll probably get comments or something and whatnot, but there was something along the lines of him saying that's the reason why he doesn't want to fight Benavidez. But when you look at like Barrera, Morales, do you know what I mean? You look at all these sort of trilogy fights and what they put on the line. When you again, you don't want to stereotype, but I'm going to say stereotype. When you get two Mexicans in the ring against each other, you're guaranteed a war. You're guaranteed a bloodbath, or however you want, a barnstormer, however you want to describe it. You're almost guaranteed that. So I don't understand why Canelo doesn't want to give the fans what they want. In terms, I'm not saying that Canelo's scared, because look who he's faced. I'm not saying that he's scared to fight Benavidez. I'm just saying, why not give the fans what they want in terms of this Benavidez fight that we're screaming for? If not Benavidez, why not Jaime Munguia? Do you know what I mean?
I think he has to. He'll have to. He'll have to fight Munguia or Benavidez. I think it's more likely with Canelo's current contractual situation to be fighting Benavidez, but Munguia's definitely in there. He's still very, very young, and I think Jaime Munguia is the future of that division. I think he's been taking it relatively slow as he moved through the weight divisions, because obviously he got the massive win against Liam Smith all those years ago, and that was down at 154, and now he's up in the super middleweight division, and he has taken it slow, and he's half been criticised for not taking the big fights. But John Ryder was the perfect fight at the perfect time, and now he rolls on really with a perfect start to 2024, and you need a world title by the end of 2024, because how long can Canelo keep all four of those belts?
Well, that's it.
He can't keep it forever.
No, he can't. And I'm sure the WBC, I think that was a silver title or something along the lines that he won last night. I think WBC will need to put a mandatory out there or something. Do you know what I mean? For him to face somebody, unless a big fight cut like the Bivol rematch. Who knows? Bivol doesn't want it, it seems. And the Jaime Munguia fight though for Canelo with the Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya, I think that might be a little bit too hard to make. But in terms of as a fan, Joe, when you're looking at this Munguia, the way he boxes, the way Canelo boxes, that structure, that solid frame, I mean, you're just going to let bombs go. Benavidez is a wee bit probably easier fight to make because Canelo's worked with PBC before. He's fought a lot of their fighters. So he's done business with them. I know he does his own sort of promoting. He's his own boss. So it's an easier fight to make, but probably a way harder fight, I believe. Benavidez is what, 6 foot something or other, 6'2", 6'3", huge monster, can punch as hard as a mule kicks. So yeah, it's again, Canelo's done everything, man. You can't grudge that man just doing what he wants in his career, because he has fought the Mayweathers, the Golovkins, the Callum Smiths. Do you know what I mean? The Danny Jacobs, Billy Joe Saunders. He's fought them all, so it's not like he's scared. I just think that he doesn't want to fight a fellow Mexican. That's in his own words. But I think as fight fans, Joe, we want to see it. We want to see two Mexicans go to war. I think that's what boxing's all about. Is just giving us the fight that the fans want. And I think the fans have been screaming. You just need to look at some of the comments on videos on Instagram of the Munguia fight. It was like fight Canelo, but Benavidez first and stuff like this. And so we're asking for it. We're wanting it. But Canelo, you're yawning there, young man. You're shattered.
I know.
Yeah.
God, I thought I got away with that one, mate.
It was one of them ones where you don't want to yawn. You don't want to be too rude. You're going.
Yeah, that's the one, mate. But that's what it does to you when you're staying up for these big fights. So at least I've got an excuse. I'm staying there to make sure I've got all the knowledge for today, mate.
Definitely, mate. But listen, Benavidez Canelo. Let me be honest with me, Joe. Do you see it happening?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. I like the optimism.
I do see it happening. I think probably September. I think he's been spoke about the other Charlo. Do a 1-2 of Charlos, and then you look who else is out there, and I think you quite simply have to do Benavides coming off the back of a great 2023. Caleb Park, Andrade. It's really kind of the tier under Canelo. So there's nowhere for Canelo unless Canelo moves up again and wants to. If he gets the Bivol match, we don't know what's happening with Beterbiev and Bivol. Unless that happens, which it doesn't look like it now, there is nowhere else Canelo can go apart from David Benavides or Jaime Munguia. And realistically, it is David Benavides.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, like I said, that's the easiest fight to make. And yeah, who knows, with the way Saudi Arabia is playing the game right now and what they're doing, money, they can probably get that fight made because they really want the big fights. And again, we need to wait and see what this year looks like because we're still into January and we're starting to see these fights being made and these Eddie Hearn, excuse me, I got something in my mouth there. Eddie Hearn versus Matchroom cards. Looks like we're going to get Bivol Beterbiev in June out in Saudi Arabia. So the fights that we're wanting, I think we've all been wanting that Bivol fight for so long. We've wanted the undisputed heavyweight for so long. We're getting them. So I think the way boxing is and the fighters and promoters and networks, they're all starting to come together for the greater good, and that's to put on the best fights. And I'm optimistic as well. I think we will see it. I think we will see this fight. And that'll make my day when we do see it because I think that Benavides fight with Canelo, Bivol Beterbiev, Usyk Fury, Joshua Fury, maybe, who knows, in the end of the year, that would be probably the best year of boxing since I've been in the sport. Do you know what I mean? I think that if we get all four of them fights, that would probably be the best year in boxing since I've been a boxing fan. But hands down.
Yeah, I think last year takes some beating, but if we do get them, I think we may be on the way to a very, very happy life as a boxing fan. But should we move on to Belfast?
Yes, sir. A guy that I know very well in Lewis Crocker. I've known him. I was at his earlier fights in Belfast when he was fighting on the undercards of like the Carl Framptons and all these guys all them years ago. But now he's based in Glasgow. He's literally 50 minutes away from me, Lewis Crocker. I've witnessed him spar leading up to this fight, and yeah, that Eddie Hearn's called him a mini Golovkin, right? And sometimes when you get tagged with that, you get that. You know what I mean? It can come unstuck at sometimes, and you'll get found you're not really are the Golovkin. But I mean, this guy is a welterweight, but hits like a fucking heavyweight, man. He's just an absolute monster. And the way that what I noticed with Crocker when he was sparring Joe, right? He sets little traps. He's got a high guard. He comes in like this, but you just catch the shot, boom, boom, and he comes back with a quick catch and shoot. He's such a powerful, intelligent. Maybe the way he boxes with a high guard and he walks forward and he's marauding like this, you might think that he's not much of a boxer. But yes, he can box, he can fight, he can brawl, he can knock you out, he can just keep you on the end of his jab. The young kid has got absolutely everything. And that 147-pound division has been a marquee division in boxing for so long. When you look at the Sugar Ray Leonards in the past, the Durans in the past, you go to Pacquiao's, the Mayweathers, you know what I mean, the Errol Spence's, the Terence Crawford. Welterweight has always been that sort of marquee division. Do you know what I mean? And I think we're chucking a little bit of that Lewis Crocker in there. I'm not saying he's world level yet. I'm not saying he beats any of these guys. I'm saying that he has got the style which is going to put bums on seats. He's exciting. He can knock you out. And he's going to be an asset to this 147-pound division. And I'm looking forward to what the future holds for this young man because I really, really, really am a fan of the way he approaches the game.
Another man I'm a big fan of is Chev Clark. Who destroyed Tommy McCarthy to the body. McCarthy proves time and time again he gets in there with the big domestic guys. He's had crackers of a fight. Two great ones with WBO world champ now, Crispin Smith, and a really, really good test for Chev early on in his career. Chev's mandatory for the British title, I believe, but that's kind of tied up at the minute. So he's gone in against Tommy McCarthy and he's taken him out in an unbelievable fashion. Yeah, I'm really excited about Chev, and I really want to see him for that British title soon. I don't think it's going to be against Isaac Chamberlain because I know Chamberlain's got his eyes set on the European title. But let's get a big fight made for Chev Clark because he's really burst onto the scene now, and it's impossible to hold him back.
And I like Chev Clark because he's not the biggest in terms of height at cruiserweight.
No,
I think he's maybe an inch or two bigger than me. Do you know what I mean? But he is solid. And again, he's one of them fighters. I like those fighters that come in with the attitude where I'm knocking you out. Like, that's the only way I'm going to, not the only way I'm going to win, but they've got the attitude where I'm going in there to hurt you. I'll knock you out. We can shake hands at the end. Same as Lewis Crocker, same as Munguia, same as these guys we just spoke about. They just go in there with the bad intentions. And again, when you're a fighter and you go in with bad intentions, again, we keep talking about it. It's the fans. We enjoy it. Me and you, Joe, we sit here on a Sunday and we talk about it because we're excited about these young fighters. I'm excited about Lewis Crocker. You just said that you're really, really excited about Chef Clark, the way he approaches the game, and Tommy McCarthy's a solid cruiserweight. On paper, probably the toughest test for Chef Clark. And look what he done there. So the cruiserweight division, I think, with Jai Apataya, Chris Smith, Richard Riakpo, Isaac Chamberlain, Chef Clark, Bradis. I probably missed a couple out. But when you look at that cruiserweight division, the fighters in the UK, we've got a good number of fighters in the UK right now that can probably dominate that division alongside Jai Apataya. And I can see Jai Apataya fighting a lot of our fighters, UK fighters, in the near future. Because like I say, Chef Clark is knocking on the door. 32, is he? How old is Chef Clark? I know
he's no spring chicken. He's definitely in his 30s, but extensive amateur career, so he can be fast tracked a bit.
Yeah, and I agree. I hope he can get that fast track because, like I say, David Jameson, Tommy McCarthy, he's beat already, and he's stopped both of these guys that are tough to stop. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm really, really excited for Chef Clark, Lewis Crocker as well. 27 years old, I think Lewis is. And go, just let the yawn out, Joe. Just let it out.
No, that wasn't a yawn. That wasn't a yawn, mate. I promise you now, that was not a yawn.
All right, I'll let you off.
Not a yawn. You're looking now, though. You're trying to find it, mate. That one wasn't a yawn.
Right,
I'll
let
it out. I'm proud now, mate.
You know, you can put like a poll on Instagram now on your feed. What I'll do is I'll clip that video, right, and I'll put a poll out and say, "Was Joe about to yawn?" And we'll see what
Maybe you stopped me. Maybe you stopped me in my tracks, mate. Maybe if you'd gone in about 2 seconds later, then you would have seen me yawn. But listen, I don't think we quite got there.
Fair play to you, Joe. You stayed up last night to watch John Ryder, and you done better than me anyway. So I can't stay up for fights no more. So fair play to you on that one. But shall we take a hard segue to next week? Because like I say, the fights keep on rolling.
Yes, they do.
But an absolute monster of a fight for us UK fight fans in Dan Azeez and Buatsi. You're from London, well, from that area down there. I know you're a me boy, you know what I mean, mate? You're from that sort of thing. How big a fight is this for London and that sort of that area?
Well, it's a huge fight domestically. First of all, Dan Azeez versus Joshua Buatsi, but as I'm told, it's not really my area. It's more South London. I'm East London, kind of Essex. But I've been told, and if I go south of the river, people are talking about this left, right, and centre. It's a real friends become foes in there. They've sparred up hundreds of rounds together. They've got great respect for each other. Joshua Buatsi didn't even really want to fight Dan Azeez. He's openly admitted that. But he said, look, it's the final eliminator. You've got to do it. You've got to put friendship aside for this fight. And now there is a little bit of bad intent there because of how soon and how close the fight was to happening before Dan Azeez pulled out with an injury. And I think Joshua Buatsi was disarmed by that a whole lot because it was only 2-3 days before the fight that the fight got called off last time. So hopefully, I think everything crossed that we do get it this time. I think we are going to get it. Feb 3rd, Wembley Arena, proper 50-50 fight, final eliminator for the WBA light heavyweight title, I think it is.
Listen, it's a fight that I'm looking forward to. And how many times have I said this on this podcast, Joe? When you're fighting for that British title, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's if you're like Buatsi and Dan Azeez, you can probably say they're good enough to win world titles. But some guys fight for that British title, and that might be their limit. But it doesn't matter. If it's your limit, that British title, or you're going to be a future world champion, when you fight for that British title, that is your world title, so to speak, because it means so much to a lot of these British fighters. And I'm going to say it right now on this podcast. This is going to be fireworks. It's going to be a barnstormer. This is going to be excitement. There's going to be drama. There's going to be cuts, knockdowns. I'm telling you right now, this is going to have everything all the ingredients for an absolute magnificent fight, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And like I say, that light heavyweight division with Bivol and Beterbiev happening in June, I don't think whoever becomes undisputed, will they want to fulfill all these mandatories like we spoke about? Who knows? Will these belts become fragment if there's a rematch clause? Who knows? So the onus right now is more than the British title for these two fighters, in Dan Azeez and Joshua Buatsi, because if you win, you'll have one eye on that undisputed fight happening in June, and you'll be thinking, right, where's that title going? Is it becoming vacant? Am I getting a shot at it next? Is that what's going to happen tail end of the year? You know what I mean? So there's more to it. There's more riding on this than just that British and Commonwealth title.
Is it for the British? I don't think it is for the British title.
Is it not? Dan Azeez got British, isn't it?
I think because he won the European, I don't know if he's still got it. And then I think it's just for the WBA final eliminator. I might be wrong, mate. I might be wrong.
You might be. I don't know. I'm sure he's.
But whether it's for the British title, whether it's not for the British title, it doesn't matter because it's still going to bring.
Well, let me just
bring fireworks.
Sometimes BoxRec give you what's on the line for it. So let me just double check, because I don't want to.
British. Who is the British light heavyweight champion? It was Dan Azeez.
It was Dan Azeez, yeah. And BoxRec saying for the British and Commonwealth titles, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, that's what. Well, that's what BoxRec's saying. And listen,
my mistake then. Completely my mistake then. I apologise, but yeah.
Well,
whoever wins this
that's
fight,
BoxRec, Joe.
Yeah, there's BoxRec. So
yeah, it's BoxRec.
We'll see on Saturday. Also on Saturday, the return of Conor Benn against Peter Dobson in a really kind of his first big step. I know he had a comeback fight against Roscoe, which ended up proving to be quite a tough fight for Conor Benn to come back to. But Peter Dobson, first test. And oh my God, I'm so excited for this card because Essex is taking over Vegas. You got Johnny Fisher on the card. You got George Lillard. Oh, mate, I absolutely can't wait. Wish I was in Vegas for that one because the Boss Soldiers... the Boss Soldiers. I think it's UK time.
Oh, so it is. No, you're right. It is 2:30 in Vegas. Yeah. It is, yes, so it's UK time. You're right. Yes.
I think it's 10:30 Ringwalk.
Perfect,
UK
man.
time. So, mate, yeah, the pubs will be packed in Essex for that one, and yeah, big start of a big year for Conor Benn, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Peter Dobson as well. He's had meant to have a couple of fights over here in the UK that I think fell through. I think maybe Kieran Jago was one of them. And there was another one down the line as well. So he's probably going to be a little bit peed off to the fact that these fights haven't happened in the UK, and he's fighting a British fighter in Conor Benn. Now, Conor Benn will have a target on his back. He doesn't have a world title, but he's got that name. He's been in the news of late, well, a lot lately. So he's got that target on his back where he's a huge scalp for anybody. Do you know what I mean? And I think if you have Conor Benn on your record, then stratosphere. Do you know what I mean? You're there because all your followers on Instagram will probably go up tenfold. Your ranking will go up 10 more places. So Peter Dobson is a dangerous fighter for Conor Benn. But the way Conor Benn trains, you follow him on Instagram, Conor Benn. You just can see the way that man trains. Again, you're only seeing snippets on Instagram, so you're going to take that with a pinch of salt. But the ferocity and the ferociousness that he's punching them bags and hitting them pads, and like you'll see on his Instagram story, it'll come up 3:30 in the morning, road work. I mean, who still does that as a fighter? Who gets up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning to do track work? Old school. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing for that. And like you say, Essex is taking over. Big Bosch, the Bosch, even Big John, he's out there, and there's American Bosch soldiers out there. So listen, that Bosch army's worldwide, not just around Essex. They're worldwide. They're taking over. And you said George Lillard as well, who's an exciting young fighter. Yeah, can't wait for it, Joe. It's going to be an exciting weekend. And like you say, that you reminded me, it's UK time, because I think ring walk is 2:30 Vegas time. So buzzing.
Yeah, don't set your alarm up for 4 in the morning, mate, to get up for Conor Benn, because it would have happened about 5 hours before. But yeah,
you know, I'm not doing. I won't be staying up that late again. I'm absolutely shattered today. I stayed up till 3. You stayed up for the John Ryder fight, man. Yeah, so a lot to talk about next week in terms of, we'll break down the fights and talk about Conor Benn and that huge British title fight next week as well. So again, we'll probably be flicking through the channels to watch each one. But yeah, it's going to be an absolute cracking show next week. We'll try and get a guest on. I'll probably try and speak to Conor if he's got time. Out in Vegas, if he's got a spare 10 minutes, and we'll ask him if he can come on and be a guest. But yeah, Joe, I know you've got a family dinner you're going out to, so listen, try and get a wee half-hour nap in, because I don't want you yawning at the dinner table. All right?
Yeah, I don't want to fall asleep in my roast dinner, mate.
Definitely
That would be a waste.
I've seen you
Excellent.
done it before, though.
Oh, maybe. No, I couldn't waste food, mate. Look at me.
Listen, Joe.
Andrew, thank you very much, mate. And
Anytime,
I'll see
brother.
you next week.
Yes, I'll see you next week, Joe. Enjoy your day, and I'll speak to you soon.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook. Get a sign-up bonus of 200% up to $25,000 when joining today. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply.
Vote for IFL in this year's Sports Podcast Awards. Go to www.sportspodcastgroup.com and vote for us in Best Combat Sports Podcast and the Diverse Voices Awards categories. IFL Pod, available across all major streaming platforms now.